And a lot of people think that the problem is that, just go and install toilets.
Right. That's not quite so simple, right?
No, it's not simple. And the theme of paternalism is kind of recurring in the social world when it comes to education. It's not a matter of building schools and just having buildings. It's not a matter of just giving out toilets or just installing them.
Or just essentially throwing money at things, right?
Throwing money throwing money in effective money.
So there has to be that social facilitation aspect, where if you discover what people are truly passionate about, what they want, they're perfect, or Peru de how do you call it?
Peru de primera. Yeah.
De primera. For it to be premier, to be the highest and best Peru possible. You need to know where the people really want to go. Maybe they don't want some things that they might want other things that might surprise you.
Yeah. No. Correct. I just want to make sure that I'm not oversimplifying the whole structure. Okay, because there are different populations we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to putting money, we're basically matching.
Mm-hmm.
Capital
mm-hmm.
with social entrepreneurs, to call them something,
mm-hmm.
and then the served population. Okay.
Yes. Consumers.
So the let's say that when it comes to the poorest of the poor, we're not asking for money from the poorest of the poor.
Right.
So wealthy people say, listen, if the poor of the poor don't want to be poor, here's some money.
Right.
Okay. And my point is that we're not defining what they want. It's like we want them to say what they want, but
right.
even though the money's coming from somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then they'll be motivated to do things. I've seen this kind of thing in Indian reservations where people throw money at things and build nice things, but it might not. Maybe the people didn't feel that they built it themselves, and they didn't have as much respect for that edifice or that structure. Then had it gone through procedurally, through their own tribal meetings and decisions and stuff, so on and so forth.
Correct. No, that's huge for all populations. It's like I think all of us have that challenge. It's like sometimes we really haven't articulated fully what we really want,
mm-hmm.
and therefore that gets in the way because people are given stuff that they really didn't ask for.
Right. Now your website where we could get more information is S as in Sam, F as in Frank, X.net.
That's correct. It's not an easy one, huh?
SFFX.net. And that stands for?
It's just Social Futures Exchange.
Okay, with 2 Fs. Okay. And now I want to talk a little bit about trust in the financial systems and the lack thereof. I gave that example where I have a bank account. I used to live on Long Island, now I live in Connecticut. So it was the same bank, and I continued on banking, but then I was accruing some kind of a charge because I wasn't doing the banking at the main branch. This goes back many years. And I didn't know about this, and it was accruing like $30 a month. I didn't have to be paying. And but I remember when I first moved to Connecticut, I sat down with my banker, and I said, "Look, you're in banking. You know all the rules. I'm a rabbi. I know how to be a rabbi. I don't know how to be a banker. So I'm going to ask you to help me find the best plan, the way that I don't want to lose money unnecessarily. So you'll tell me the rules and advise me properly." So he doesn't tell me this, he doesn't tell me that, and then I discover 5 years later that I've accrued all of these extra hidden fees that I certainly didn't know about, and I asked to be informed about. So my trust, went down the tubes, and I felt that they only tell me about things that when I specifically discover, when I learn enough about it, to spend the time, which I don't really have, because I'm agitated by their behavior. So I've learned a little bit, and I say, "Well, what about that?" And they say, "Oh, yeah, you're right. You could save yourself another $5 by that too." How come you're only telling me about this when you're piecemealing me? You're only telling me one thing at a time, and I'd like to get a refund on that $30 because I came in and asked you to adjust my account appropriately. So I lost trust in the bank. I felt that they were just, robbing me blind. So I left the bank. I'm sure you have a few things to say about that.
Sure. I guess we had this sort of conversation or along those lines before, and I guess in my mind I have to separate two things. I don't know how much of this story I told you, but so the social futures exchange is my response or my response to one of the dilemmas I had in finance, trying to come up with new breakthrough ideas to add value to society, right? And one of them is my venture, the Social Futures Exchange. The other big dilemma that I had when my job was to analyze the future of money management and to say like where can we come up with added value services to clients, I still haven't responded. One response was the Social Futures Exchange. That's right now taking my entire life.
But there's other things you're still yet
the
to
other
respond.
thing, I'm still debating. I told you I don't have a full response to it, which is this essential dilemma, which is there's so much information. We are in a world in which companies know so much about you. They know so much about your kids, right?
Right.
And I did warn you that you can't be paranoid about this. I'm looking at it very coldly. Okay,
Yes,
I'm not being avoiding being paranoid and avoid putting fault on anybody for
It's
now.
not a conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. But the plain fact is that we're in a day and age in which there's so much information. Some companies know more about you than yourself. Okay, it's just that simple in terms of data. And so the key question is, how is that information, when is that information used for you, and when is it used against you? Okay, and it's a very tricky question. Okay, because in the consumer world of the last 20 years, essentially, the answer is, listen, you're responsible for your consumption. Okay, so you have to take the responsibility when you're buying something. Okay?
Right. In our last few seconds actually. But so I felt I was taking the responsibility by saying, you're the professional that advised me.
Correct.
Tell me it now.
Correct. So the answer is either you didn't do your, the quick answer is you didn't do enough, right? But then my thesis is there's not enough you can do in the financial services world. I mean, because there's a lot of complexity, there's a lot of information.
Right.
There's a statistic, and I am going to give it roughly, but I would venture to say, based on research that I did a few years ago now, that less than 15% of people that receive a mutual fund prospectus actually read it.
Yes.
Yet they're very thick prospectuses, right?
Yes.
So, what does it really entail for you to do your homework to buy a mutual fund, or to put your money in?
We're going to have to hold that thought for our next interview. Okay, Guillermo MacLean, thank you very much for being here on Rabbi Rock. It's really a pleasure talking with you, and I hope we have a chance to do it again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.